first of all, just if you can give me a brief, just a bit about your situation, your financial situation at the time that you like reached out.
Mhm.
Where was
So, yeah, I've been running a small business, and at the time when I reached out to you, it was I had several loans that I had to manage, and that at that time I I've seen that it's becoming unbearable, and I need a way to communicate this to creditors and then to find the best solution. And this is when I actually spoke with one of my friends. And again, there's where the power lies. It lies in sharing your problems with others, because you know only so much. And when you share your problems, in a way, it becomes lighter on you, but also you are able to get support in a different way. And one of my friends, he did mention you, and he had financial problems at a time. And by working with you, or getting advices from your content, he was able to manage and resolve his situation. So that's why it was strong case and testament to me to get better understanding of what are you doing, and what's your approach to this, as you said, financial game. And then that's why when I decided, okay, let's go forward, let's get in touch with you and see how are you able to help. At the time I wasn't sure if you're able to help with the business loans, but as time shown later on, it was you're equally capable, and I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, and I'm glad that I could try and help you and just try and make things just a bit better. But we'll find out more about that in the other question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the biggest challenge or worry that you were facing at the time? What was your biggest? Let's recall.
The thing is, when you are in unknown waters, you don't know what are the timelines, what are the options. And as you said before, that's the fear of unknown is what make people scared. And at the time I didn't know how much time do I have, until creditors make certain moves, or uh, I would say I knew how to communicate, but I didn't know how to communicate the options that I might have. And this is where the knowledge comes when you are dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. You know, like what are the most likely outcomes, what are less likely outcomes, and that was the element that you brought to my communication with creditors, just knowing the options. And at that time also, it was the pressure of those of unknown things. And then obviously it's not just those loans, it was still running the business plus other things. So when there are too many plates on your hand, like it's just becoming harder to deal with another thing which really requires expertise. So yeah, this is what I was lacking at the time and still do.
But hopefully you'll from the situation you would have gained a little bit more knowledge in that. But like you said, it's the kind of fear of dealing with it. It's not so easy. Okay, so how is it affecting your daily life, your like relationship or mental health? What effect was it having on you?
I noticed that when the debt becomes unbearable, a lot of your let's say mind space is going towards that. It's like draining your energy, and you are like, usually I'm a creative person, and as a business owner you need to manage more things, and suddenly that becomes takes such a big space that you are stop being creative, stop thinking about the growth. It's just the fear that comes, and then it preoccupies you, and you don't know, do I have another week or another month, until, let's say, the worst thing happens, or the next stage that is not favorable. So it's really, it takes a lot of this, and that was, I wasn't sharing this with many people, only with those that I thought that they might help me at a time. So I try to, cope with this in a way, but obviously the longer it goes, it's not easier, and you need some kind of release valve. And that's why it helps when you share things with other people, then it does become easier. And yeah, that was mostly it. And as we start working, then I understood that everything takes longer than you thought it takes. And this is one of the things that, in a way, it's a release, because it's not tomorrow. It's not in 24 hours. It's not so urgent. It takes time, and it's a good way. In these situations, the time is your friend,
Yes.
your best friend. And the longer it takes, in a way, you are also able to process this and to understand, okay, there are options. It's not end of the world. And it just takes time, because you don't know what's the process of, let's say, creditors. As I understood as well, throughout this process, they all have different timelines and different way to resolve the issues, or different way to pursue. So it's really, it's not that one size fits all, even in this situation. And there are options, and don't be afraid to go and ask for, to understand the problem and ask. So
That's a really good, really strong message for people. Like really strong. Like, don't be afraid, because there are many people out there who are in a situation they're being silent, and it can lead to all sorts of problems for people mentally, to the worst. I've seen the worst situations. So well, that's a big, strong message that people really need to know and to understand. So thank you, Mirko.
yeah,
Um,
you
did you try any other solutions before coming to the real debt guy?
well, the thing is, I didn't know that there are any solutions. So as I said, when I spoke with my friend,
Yeah.
he was, as I said, like his solution seemed the best, and that's why I reached out. And again, it wasn't easy to find you. So it was like a, hidden treasure somewhere, knowing that someone is actually dealing with the loans in certain way. So that was big relief to me. And I'm really glad that, once again, that I had a chat, that I opened up about my quote unquote failure. And then, there is always solution for something. So yeah.
That it's just lessons. Like there's not one person that hasn't failed. The more every time that you fail, you're learning more, and
Yeah.
there is not one person who doesn't. Not one person who doesn't do something and it doesn't work out. Whatever you go through people's story and people's history, the people don't go get to a situation and everything is perfect. No way. And so
Yeah.
it's here. We're here to learn and to improve ourselves. And everything for me is a very good lesson. You have to experience it to be able to get to the next level. So, and
That's
good.
very true.
Yeah,
Even though it's painful, there's the growth that you have to go through. When you are small, your bones are stretching, and then it's painful, your muscles and everything, right? But
yeah,
it's part of the process to grow, to be able to do more in the future.
exactly. You don't learn without pain. So, for example, the reason why people put their hand in the fire is because they know what it will do.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
don't learn.
exactly.
Okay, so
They say gold is tried in fire, right? All the dirt is falling off, and you're purifying yourself over the time. So
exactly. That's correct.
yeah.
I think you've answered that question. I think you've spoken about finding the real debt guy.
Yeah.
Okay, what were your initial expectations or feelings before you started the process?
The feelings was uncertainty. Again, just because you don't know how are you dealing with this. You don't know anything, and
Mm.
that's the problem. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. obviously based on the recommendation and research, but you need to say, okay, let's go, and then see how the process is, and then you understand over time the flow. And you said, what are my expectations? So expectation was to obviously negotiate with them and hopefully uh, get that written off to a certain degree, or arrangement of paying just smaller percentage. So, or ideally also just maybe to maybe get it written off completely. But again, because it was a business loans and they have different terms and conditions, I wasn't sure. So over the time we had different outcomes, as you were dealing with 3 different creditors. So yeah, that just shows how each of them are working, and different approach is needed, and sometimes you don't have many options. You have to push until you see which doors are opened, and then based on that you are doing actions.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's true. You have to, like you said, you have to see which options that you have by opening these doors. Then you can see, until you know what your options are, then you don't really know what to do. So, and
yeah,
the most important thing is to know your options. Once you know your options, then at least you can plan as to which direction you will take and what you will do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
You
good.
can press those buttons and then you can see, okay, this button doesn't work, let me try others as well.
Exactly that. That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Now, how did the real debt guy explain your options and the next steps?
um, it was nearly a year ago when I approached, so like I don't have like everything crystal clear, but I know that you said that you will overtake the communication, and I will discuss with you, and then you will send forward uh, any replies, the best ones that we might see, and that was for me the enough. And I must admit, like even then, like it was um in a way it's hard to let ropes go, or give to someone else to take control, because you don't know what's the process, you don't know how they're doing, and that was just a little uncertainty from my side. But over time I've seen that obviously you're doing a good job, and I was always scared for the timelines. I must admit, like that was my biggest fear in a way. Oh, you know what, we need to do this, we need to do that, and like over the time I learned to let go to you, and then the further it goes, it became easier. It just because I understood your way of doing things, and that made my life easier.
It's about developing trust. So yeah, once you're confident and you have the trust, but it's absolutely normal, because this is a really big thing. Your financial situation is not a small thing,
Yeah,
and I totally understand why it's difficult for anyone to just let someone else run it and trust that they'll do it the way that you would do it. But when you understand how I am, I'm super passionate and I'm so meticulous that everything is always in my mind to be done, 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 as you've really seen. So
yeah,
yeah, like you said, as time goes on, you find out what I'm like.
exactly. And we mentioned before, like this financial part is the biggest challenge and the hardest to let it go,
Yes.
and that's why it's hardest way to build trust. And also this is where banks are winning in a way, because they have put themselves as a authority.
Yeah.
All creditors, anyone in financial world, they are establishing themselves in that way, and that's why I would say people are not questioning enough their options. They're not looking for their benefits. They think that everything that those institutions say, that it's like set in stone,
Yes.
and they forget that people have also leverage. And I would say the more they know, the better educated they are in the financial world, the better they can play that game.
Exactly. Exactly. That's correct. Wise, good
Yeah.
work. Very good. Um, was there anything that surprised you about the process? if you remember in general?
Yeah. I wouldn't say like that surprised me, but just like it made my life easier. Just that knowing that you will be handling that. This is my main key takeaway. Just not surprises, but understanding when understand how things are working. That's what you need to know, and it's easier to go from there.
Perfect. I think you answered, how did you feel in the first few weeks? Yes. How did the real debt guy assisting you with the communication? How did that affect your stress levels? I think you pretty much said I think you
Yeah,
pretty much answered that.
it dropped massively. A few months later or a few months ago, I also started liquidation process with the business. It just became so many things, like it became insolvent, and again I started working with liquidation insolvency practitioner, and then also that's another way, like options, and knowing that people with expertise are taking over, and then you see that their advice is sound, and this helps you to, in a way, the pressure of communication and finding solutions is not anymore on your own, but it's on someone who is dealing with you. That was the same case with you before, just like understanding that there is someone by your side and they will help you to go through this challenge that is in front of you.
So you're not on your own, and that's
Yeah,
because it can be a
that's
lonely place.
yeah, like everything that you do on your own, it's harder.
Yes,
Everything that you do together, it's easier, it's shared, and you can go further. It's
exactly,
you know
exactly, absolutely right. Um, what specific results did you achieve? Anything, if you want to talk about that?
Sure. So with first Creditor, unfortunately, they decided to go through money claim online very quickly. That was just 2 months after we started working, and they, I would say, they are quite pushy, and I noticed later on in their communication, there is a bit of inconsistency and some other things, so it's quite challenging dealing with them still. And I know because they went through money claim online, you did offer also this service, but at the time I decided, okay, I'll go through this on my own.
Yes.
And later on, my insolvency practitioner, he did offer some support, like some ways what I can try and explore um, while still negotiating with them. Then with another creditor, we were able to arrange reduced payments.
Yes.
That was for 1/3 almost. So it was helpful at the time, obviously, for as long as business was able to maintain those payments. And then the third one, and actually this was the biggest creditor. It took the longest, but also we were able to have a good, let's say, negotiation outcome.
Yes.
And we were able to get from the final amount that they were claiming, so that was principal plus fee, that final amount we were able to get a settlement that was below 10% of the total amount. And that was, I almost couldn't believe. And it just tells you how much you have to try, you have to persist, and you have to try. Sometimes you would say try to be cheeky, but when you know how they are playing their game, actually it's not cheeky. Just like you need to ask, you need to again press those buttons, thinking about yourself and what is possible. And it's sometimes down to creditor, sometimes down to negotiation, sometimes down to audacity as well to ask certain things. And yeah, it all comes together. And as we saw, like there are three creators and there were three outcomes, right? And it's very strange and challenging, and that's why, you know, if you go alone, you're gonna struggle, and it's often it won't end up well, right? So
Yes.
yeah, speak
It,
out, ask for help, and dare to ask, you know, things that are going into your favor.
and that's the point. And you know, when it comes to creditors, like especially business debt is obviously which you're on is different from consumer debt, but there is almost this thought pattern that they have more authority and power than you do. But you almost have to remember that they're businesses. And the key thing for me in a situation is to first to calm it and to have an understanding of exactly what is going on. Then you discuss to work out exactly what needs to happen, what is required in order to achieve the goals that you want and what the creditor want. And then you have to find a way to get an equilibrium, to be able to find a balance that works for both. But the most important thing is to calm the situation and to get some. For me, I like things to be tidy and organized, to know exactly what's been said, have a trail of what's been discussed,
Yeah.
and for it to be treated as a professional conversation rather than something that could be a bit sporadic. And that's what happened. And like you said, it worked. You felt calmer yourself. You understood it more, and then now you realize that this is business, and this is business, and then there is you can get to an agreement. There are different outcomes. The one creditor, I've already done a video about them. The first one, they are notorious for their behavior and have issues with the Financial Conduct Authority about their behavior. They're not they're very consistent in the way that they almost take advantage of a system, which is not very good.
Mhm.
But like you said, the way it worked, the way it flowed, and like you to get less than 10%, it is achievable. But it has to be the way that you structure and you behave in the way that you communicate, in the way that everything is all important. Okay, that helps you get to an outcome. And
And also, sorry, just it came, yeah, it just came to my mind also. You earlier asked, like, how are you working as well? One of the important things is that you ask not to take calls, but everything have in written. And that also reduces the pressure, because when you are speaking, they might ask you certain things, or you might agree to certain things without taking time to think about it. And this is this additional pressure, like almost like in sales, right? I'm not saying that sales is bad, but just like for everyone is important to get like a on person, like to have conversation or something, because this is when the results can be achieved faster. But in our situation, you need to take time to process everything, what they say, what they offer or they don't offer, and then you can always go back and you can read through and see, okay, I see now how the conversation was flowing. I can see that I've been offering them several offers and they've been rejecting this. So this is all building your case in written, in case it has to come to the court, or it gives you leverage when you are discussing with them. Like, look, you can always write the email. One of those first Creditor that took me on money claim online, they said like, oh, we were offering you or something, but like they could just they said we were calling you, but like how it's hard to write an email and say like if you are rejecting or accepting or something like that. So you know, like that's why from that moment, like I didn't took any of their calls, and it was easier for me as well, because I knew that, you know, like you can type the email, write down, and I also want to have this to go through and have a better think when we have to reply to them and when we are building our case.
And that I'm so glad you said that. Keep things in writing. Don't ever feel pressured. I am, you know what I'm like. I'm such a stickler for no phone conversations. The phone conversation benefits the creditor who's recording the conversation and knows exactly what to ask you and what to say at the right time. When you receive it in writing, you can look at it, put it down, come back 1 hour later. Because when you first read it, your mind is what does that say? What does that say? That says this, and you start creating problems where they're not. You can read it, go away, come back, read it, go away, come back, read it again, go through what's been said. And it gives you time. There's no pressure for you to answer. Not only that, there is a clear trail of everything, like you said, has been discussed. That's why I'm so specific about everything in writing. And as you've seen, they communicate in writing. It's not a problem. They communicate, but they're more likely to say, "Oh, we called you 10 times or whatever." There's no proof of that. You can say they said this on the phone. They'll say we don't have that. We don't have that recorded. You've got no proof of that. But everything that's in your email or letter is clear, black and white. Even the offer that you got of the discount, there was no problem because it's in black and white in writing. And that's the thing. So no one can say anything to you about that. And so I'm so glad that you put that point out because it's a really big specific point. So yeah, very good.
Exactly.
Okay, where are we now? Do you know how long did it take before you noticed the positive? It takes time. Let's try and phrase this question a bit different. How long did it take before you started to see things more settled, should we say, rather than a positive change? So rather than being a lot of pressure, that things started to calm and become a bit more positive in terms of discussions, etc.
I would say fairly quickly. I don't know what were the dynamics between responses, us and creditors, but fairly quickly, just that I know that I can discuss about those things with someone, with you, and then we will find the best answer, propose best option. It's just when you start working together, when you see the way, then it becomes easier, and that's fairly quickly, So yeah, after all, it's all about dynamics between you and creditor. So how quickly are they responding? And yeah, but yeah, it is quickly. Just you have to start, and then you will see that the trust grows and pressure drops, and yeah.
Very good. That's in terms of your financial situation, has it improved since, let's phrase this correctly. So managing your financial situation, has it improved since you started, since you contacted?
The let's say situation, because that was business related, right? And the business was in hospitality, so it's quite volatile. So we got in touch, I think it was October, November, and then there was this winter period where it was very challenging again. So at that time, I also decided that I would try to I had several leases within the business that were allowing me to perform or to get a financial gain. So I was looking to pass over those leases to other people in the sector who might be interested, and to reduce the amount that we owe. But because that didn't happen at the same time, it was spread over time, so I wasn't able to reduce the debt as much as I wanted, but at least I was able to pass over those leases, because obviously I was working with landlords and I didn't want to leave them on dry, just to say, like, you know what, I stopped trading, and that's also, I found the people who were able to take over those leases, and then at least that had a positive outcome. But obviously financial pressure didn't drop as much, just to the degree where I wasn't able to pay. And then, like, if you can't pay, what can you do? I was paying the minimum amount, just as you were also suggesting. Keep on paying little small bits, just so they can say you stop paying, and so they don't have this upper hand on you, like you being irresponsible. You were paying, but you just pay small bits, like a tokens, just that you are showing your commitment. Yes. Even though it wasn't as big as it was when you agreed, but you know, you are showing that you are not neglecting them. And that was one way also interesting to deal with those situations and obligations. But I also became more financially aware on my personal side, and just also been more interested in this managing finances. And also I'm having totally different perspective on that in general, because before I was just like, you know, I thought I can borrow up my success, and it's very hard to do that, because you know there are those interests that could be actually your profit margin, and the more loans you are having or the more expensive they are, it's just hard to be in profit when you are giving your margins to someone else. So that's why it's hard to be successful in the long run, and just be successful based on borrowing. You know, you have to reduce your borrowing as soon as possible, and then you can manage your cash flow and think long term and how you want to do with this surplus that you are having, both on business or personal side of finances. The problem is that people got used to that, and sometimes they are saying there is good and bad debt, right? But if you are having issues in managing, even good debt will become bad debt very quickly. And one of my lessons that just kind of was formalized recently is like, the borrowing or debt is just having faith that future will be equally good as today is, but there is no guarantee to that. So you think, oh, business will be good, well, you know, in the next 5 years, therefore I will take a loan for 5 years. But hey, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next month? How economy going to turn? You don't know that. And that's the big problem. You know, we are over leveraging ourselves without having the certainty in the future revenue, and that's a big problem. And another thing that I found out is that credit cards are the most advertised product in the world. Companies are spending the biggest money to advertise credit cards, and you know that credit cards, they have biggest interest rates. So it's like a wooden stove, you know, you are just throwing money inside and it's burning crazy, and it's so easy to get one. So that's why that's the, I think, biggest problem.
Interesting.
Easily accessible money and bad management are two worst options that often comes together.
That's very interesting. The fact that credit cards, I didn't even know that that statistic, that it's the most advertised product in the world.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. You see,
You always see American Express, Masters, Diners, like even when you see those compare sites, right? They are all finding you the best deals. Yeah, I mean, like, I know they are kind of trying to help you, but better education is more helpful than a lot of money that is not actually yours, but you think, oh, I have it here, I can use it in emergency. You should build your emergency fund. This is what you should use, not the credit card where the money is not yours.
exactly that. Exactly. With me, credit cards are something that you can use in order for you to build up credit for good debt, right? So in terms of credit cards, let's see, if you spend £1,000 your credit card, you pay immediately. That's because you have the £1,000 in your account. So you're not spending money that you don't have. So if you want to use it to build up, for example, if you want to get mortgage for properties or something like that, you use that 1,000 and you pay it immediately. The minute you spend it, you pay it immediately. That's how a credit card should be used. The problem is people, they think of it as an extension of their money. It's not an extension of your money.
Yeah.
It is basically in order for you to use it the correct way, which is to build, because you need credit if you want to go and make money in terms of property and stuff like that. You may require that. I'm talking just in personal, but it's not to be used as an extension of your money, because it's not your money. and it can only lead you down one path. So
The problem is because you see positive balance, you know,
Yeah.
and then, oh, that's something that I can spend, you know, and that's like a mental trick.
exactly, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Excellent. You mentioned what this has made to your mental health and peace of mind. I think you mentioned that. You can, if you'd like to add to that, you can do. But
Yeah, I think I did mention it. It
I
just,
already mentioned it.
yeah, the time is that time and sharing, you know, sharing your problems with others is you can't put a price tag on tag. It's just invaluable and very big help on your day-to-day problems that you're facing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And then I think you mentioned that as well. Okay, so there's some last questions for you. But like I said, I think you covered a lot, which is great. Looking back, what do you think was the biggest turning point in your journey? What was it?
Taking over communication. I
Yeah.
would say that I don't have deal with this on my own. That was like when I felt like a big release, and that was the biggest mental help, you know, definitely.
Perfect. Yes, you already mentioned that, but I would like you to say that again. What advice, just a summary, because honestly, you've given some amazing advice and information to people who are in a situation. But just a summary of what advice would you give to someone who is listening to this and is struggling right now on their own, and they may feel embarrassed about it, scared about it. What advice would you give to them that would can change the way that they're thinking and make them take steps? What would you say to them?
Yeah. Every problem is easier when it's shared. Look for solutions and obviously ask questions to get clarity how these solutions can help you, and don't just wait, do nothing, because this is what fear does. It paralyzes you, and you think just over time it will go, but it will go over time. But if you do actions, proper communication is needed. One of the things also that I learned is you need to make communication flow. Even if you can't pay, let them know. They are also saying, like, if you think that you might be struggle with next payment, reach out to us and discuss this. So that's why even they are encouraging communication, regardless how tough it might be. You have to speak out. You have to say that, look, this month might be tough. I have too many things coming, you know, financially coming to me. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with this. So even they are there to make profit, and I don't blame them. Blame them. Any business is here to make profit, but like even then, they are encouraging customers to speak out and to share if you are struggling, because if they don't know what's the problem, they might see that you are avoiding the problem or something, that you don't care about it. If you do, then they might have put some plans. And I noticed also those creators with whom we were speaking, they offered some financial help, some other companies that are dealing with this. So they were also providing some certain support. It's another topic how those other companies are dealing with that and what solutions are they providing.
Yes.
But still, they are encouraging communication, and that would be my, you know, my key takeaway. Speak out, help. First of all, friends, why not? You know, they are here to help you. That's why they are your friends, right? And someone might have some advice. I got advised about the real dead guy from my friend, and it was it was priceless. And that's why I speak out. Only that will help you, because you have limited options. You have limited knowledge about this topic, and many people have facing different challenges. You never know, and it can be also another way to bond, to have a better relationship with that person, because you are sharing some of your troubles, and they can help you there, support you, and yeah.
And you know, that's so important. Exactly what you said. Because not only that, there are a lot of circumstances where, for example, when you share your situation, and your friends are your friends because they're there for you for when things are good and when things are bad. That's why they're your friends. But I've seen in occasions when people share that information, all of a sudden their friend will open up. And then suddenly both of you are having a conversation about something, but both of you did not know what you were going through. And so them you having that conversation with them, all of a sudden, like you said, you're not alone, but you start to know more, and there's more of a closer relationship when they feel in a position that I'm willing to go, I'm willing to discuss this situation with you. I don't think there's anyone who has a proper friend who's not who if you speak to them about a situation like that, would not want to do everything they can to help you out.
Mm.
And that's the truth.
Yes.
And
Real friend is then when you are able to share your vulnerabilities,
exactly.
and they hear you. And often, as you said, like people open up, because like if you are a perfect guy, it's the relationship is quite shallow.
Yeah.
I mean, like presented as a perfect guy, right? Like, oh, I don't like a Instagram success, let's call it that way, because this is what people often refer to. They see only nice, shiny photos, and they think that those people are living perfect lives, which is illusion.
Yes.
And when you actually share problems with your friends, they start sharing their problems. What you said, it's like reciprocity, right? And it's not that you're asking for that, but just like they see that it's just deeper connection. You are showing that you are human, and if you also having in mind that your problem and your lesson, if you can give it together, it can help someone else. This also showing that you care about other people,
Exactly.
and it's not just so. Yeah, there is so many things that you can learn from challenges, from problems, and you also need to put yourself in a state as not as a victim, because then you won't be doing anything. You won't be looking for solutions. Heroes are looking for solutions, right? Victims are just shrinking and they are waiting for the hero. And heroes are those who have been in trouble sometimes. They found solutions and they're able to help others.
That is brilliant. I like that. I think that's a very, very good way to round this up. That's such powerful. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah,
One last one. Actually, there is one more. Very quickly, would you recommend what we do, the Real Debt Guide, to other people?
yeah. I would recommend that definitely. It just if you wanna excel in one area of your life, you would always go to experts who spend years of perfecting of what they do to get the best outcome, regardless which area it is. And that's why you are doing a great job here with helping people to deal with the debt. And that's why I would recommend you, just because you know what you're doing, and this is what people need in those most challenging situations in their life.
Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it, Mirko.
You're most welcome, Wayne.